Hi everyone and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. So if you've watched basically any of my other videos, you may know that I do have a thing for luxury handbags. So you can definitely say that handbags and accessories is an area of my life that I tend to splurge on. But at the same time, even as a luxury lover, there are a ton of aspects and areas of my life that I'm quite frugal on, or even stingy in some areas, and yeah, that I basically not refuse to spend money on, but refuse to allocate a significant chunk of money to, if that makes sense. A couple of weeks ago, Paula from With a Touch of Luxury filmed a video with the 5 items that she doesn't spend money on, or like her frugal habits basically as a luxury lover. And off of that video, she decided to collaborate with Danny from I Am Danny O. Both of those ladies' channels will be linked in the description box below, by the way, to make this video into a tag, and she tagged me, so here we are. So in this video I'm going to share 5 areas of my life that I'm quite frugal on, so like frugal habits if you will. Just to preface, this isn't like a how I afford luxury, because the way I afford luxury handbags is my day job, surprise surprise, but the fact that I don't see any like added value or like enjoyment in spending money on those areas that I don't spend money on definitely helps, because I have a lot more left basically that I can put into savings, like for retirement, but yeah, also like a tiny chunk for handbag saving goals. Frugal habit, not so much a habit, but yeah, frugal thing number 1 is I don't own a car. Of course, I have my driver's license, and I'm glad I do, because I'm not saying that I will never purchase a car, but where I'm at right now, I don't have kids, I don't have to like carry around stuff from A to B in like large quantities. I don't really need a car. Also the upkeep, I mean, the purchase price, number 1, plus cars depreciate like crazy. And then the upkeep, like gas or electricity, depending on which kind of car you get, insurance, maintenance, 2 sets of wheels, storage for the wheels that you don't use, like when you have the summer wheels on, you have to store the winter wheels somewhere. Like the upkeep of owning a car, and then like stresses if something happens and you get into an accident, and like the back and forth with your insurance or like the insurance of the other party that was involved in the accident. It's just so much stress, so much time and money, and yeah, I don't see a value in having a car right where I'm at. Public transport is my friend, and I also do a lot of walking, so yeah, frugal habit number 1. I think I've never like really done the calculation of how much it would cost me to own a car. Oh, also parking is a nightmare, but yeah, never done the calculation like in detail. But I'd imagine that would be a huge chunk of money gone basically on a monthly basis. So I'm glad that I don't have that. Kind of like going off of the first aspect that I mentioned, taxis and Ubers. When I'm at home, I never take Ubers. Unless I'm like going to the airport in the middle of the night with like 2 suitcases or something like that, then I'm gonna take a taxi or an Uber. But other than that, I never take taxis or Ubers, only when I'm on vacation, but also then usually like, especially in New York, Paris, London, they have like excellent public transport. I don't see a need to take Ubers because they are like super expensive as well. In preparation of this video, I actually went through my Uber app and scroll through my like trip history. The last time I took an Uber was last year in September-ish in Amsterdam at night. And before that, there was 1 trip in New York City from Penn Station to my hotel, and in Washington DC, 1 trip from my hotel to Union Station. And before that, I think it was like in 2019, a couple of trips in San Francisco and LA. I mean, I get it, LA is rubbish when it comes to public transport, but the amount of money I spent on Ubers in LA really pains me. That was a huge chunk of money, and I'm super glad that I never really got into the habit of taking Ubers or taxis anywhere. Maybe I'm also a little naive in being okay with taking public transport at night or like walking around. Even like in San Francisco, I like was living there for 3 months a couple of years ago, and I was living pretty close to the Tenderloin. And if you've been in San Francisco, the Tenderloin, basically the entire like city center is like not the nicest when it comes to like drugs and like homelessness, and people with mental health issues, which usually comes like hand in hand. Anyway, I was walking through the Tenderloin with my Pochette Métis, so like a like in your face branded luxury handbag, and it was like at night. Yeah, nothing happened. Yeah, maybe I'm a little careless or naive in being okay with walking or taking public transport at night, but yeah, that's frugal habit number 2. I rarely ever take taxis or Ubers. So before we get into habit number 3, which might be a controversial one or like at least an unrelatable one, let me know what you think. But before we get into that, in case this is your first time watching one of my videos, maybe you discovered my channel through Paula, which I would be super grateful for. Hi, my name is Lesley. On my channel I talk about all things luxury, in particular handbags, but I cover a wide range of topics on here. I film unboxings, reviews, travel vlogs, shopping vlogs, the occasional like high street fashion video thrown into the mix. Also, I will be moving to London very, very soon. Maybe at the time that this video goes up I will have already moved to London. But yeah, I'm definitely planning to take you along and get into more like day-to-day vlogging. Anyway, so if any of that sounds like a thing, I would love for you to consider subscribing. Also ring that little bell so you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. But yeah, let's get into frugal habit number 3. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I don't really like eating out. Again, that perfectly ties into what I mentioned earlier. It's not like a conscious decision in terms of this is actually something I love, but I'm making an effort to cut down on something so I can afford something else. It's just like, yeah, I don't really get enjoyment out of eating out, to be honest. Also, takeaway. I mean, Starbucks is insanely expensive if you do it on somewhat of a daily basis, like absolutely crazy. I have an espresso machine at home and we have a fancy Jura coffee machine in the office. There's really no point in me going to get like takeaway coffee on a day-to-day basis. On vacation that might look a little different, but even then, eating out and takeaway is not something I really get enjoyment out of. I know for most of you probably that's not the case, and you're like, okay, but yeah, what do I do in my free time if I'm not like eating out and meeting people? And I do appreciate eating out and like getting drinks or like fetching coffee and everything is also a way to socialize. So yeah, I don't know. It's never been something I've been into, maybe also because my parents, like, we never really went out on a regular basis to restaurants, so maybe it's just like out of habit. Plus, I mean, especially since I got diagnosed with celiac disease, restaurants have definitely gotten better in like disclosing which allergens are in which kind of dish, but there are still a ton of restaurants that don't really know what is in their food, basically, or they can't guarantee that there isn't any like cross-contamination and everything, and I don't want to be a burden. But even before that, it's just not something I ever developed a habit in, I guess. Granted, I will be moving to London, as I mentioned. Maybe that will change a little bit, and I will be going out a little more to like, yeah, also as a way to meet people. But as a whole, I don't foresee like going out to eat or like takeaway coffee and everything being something that, or like becoming something that I do as my like first choice of spending my leisure time. Frugal habit number 4, subscriptions. I'm doing my best to keep the amount of subscriptions that I have on a minimum. So for YouTube, I have Epidemic Sound. It allows me to use royalty-free music in my videos, which is especially important for like my vlogs, for instance, but also in my like sit-down videos, I always have like on very low volume some like background music playing. I just think it kind of helps the ambience, I guess, and yeah, as I mentioned, in particular for vlogs. So that's a non-negotiable. I do need that for my YouTube channel. I did at some point for a couple of months have Canva Pro. Canva is where I create my thumbnails on, and I did have the Pro version, which is, yeah, a paid-for version, but I realized that like 99% of the features that I need for creating my YouTube thumbnails is included in the free version of Canva, so I canceled the Pro membership. And if I realize that I would see a value in getting back the like paid-for version, then I might consider it. But for now, for YouTube, I only have the Epidemic Sound subscription. For me personally, I sometimes have Audible. I go on and off, like, hey, sign up for the subscription, then I cancel it, so it's not like an ongoing thing. I'd say on average I have an Audible subscription for like 6 months out of the year, something like that. And other than that, Apple Music, non-negotiable, I need that. And I think that's basically it. Yeah, okay. $2.99 iCloud storage, because I use my iPhone for filming and also taking pictures and everything, so I need the extra storage. But that's it. I don't have Netflix, I don't have Disney Plus. I even canceled my Amazon Prime membership because I didn't really see the value in that. But yeah, I do keep my subscriptions, reoccurring things on a minimum, and I go through my expenses on somewhat of a regular basis and see if there's anything that I happen to have signed up at some point, like back in the day, that I totally forgot about. But I'm fairly confident that the subscriptions that I just mentioned are the only ones that I have. And yeah, that definitely helps, because even when you're like, okay, this subscription is $10, that subscription is $15, another $10 here and everything, that definitely adds up very quickly. So yeah, subscriptions is something that I keep on a minimum. And lastly, frugal habit number 5 is kind of a two-part thing because they belong together. Part 1 of that is makeup. I'm fairly minimal when it comes to makeup. I have one foundation, two foundations, because I recently switched from the Chanel Le Teint Ultra to the Armani Numinous Silk, and I still have I think half a bottle of the Chanel foundation left. I'm going to use that up for sure, but yeah, one foundation essentially. I think I have a total of 3 lipsticks, and to be honest, I don't use any of them. I don't like the feeling of lipstick on my lips. Also, my lips are, as you might be able to tell, fairly chapped, always kind of dry, and I don't like lipstick settling into the cracks in my lips. Just not a good look. So lipsticks, I do own 3 or what, but I don't use any of them. I do own 1 cream contour, 2 blushes, 1 mascara. That's basically it. 1 eyeshadow palette, but I think I didn't consciously buy that. I think it was part of some kind of beauty subscription box that I had almost a decade ago. So I'm really minimal when it comes to my makeup. I just don't get that much enjoyment out of trying new stuff and everything. Once I found something that works for me, it works for me. And that habit definitely saves me a lot of money, because while there are a lot of releases when it comes to handbags, beauty is a whole nother level. So many more brands, and they turn out new releases and collaborations and new palettes, and it's just craziness. So even if you want to get close to trying to keep up with new makeup releases, you'd be doomed, and you'd be spending your paycheck and probably more than your paycheck. But yeah, not something I'm interested in, and that definitely saves me a lot of money, I guess. And part 2 of the 5th frugal habit is reoccurring beauty treatments. The only reoccurring beauty treatment, I guess, that I get is my hair. I do go to the hair salon twice a year to get balayage. I did, back in the day, I used to be super blonde, and with age, my natural hair color has definitely gotten a lot darker, and I just feel more comfortable being blonder, and I kind of justify it as it's good for my mental health, whatever. Balayage is super expensive, especially if you go to a hair salon that knows what they're doing, and seeing as my hair is really important to me, I prefer to spend more money. I think one session is $350, which is insane, and I feel super guilty about that. But compare that to, I don't know, I recently saw, I think it was a reel or a TikTok, either of those, by Lesley Adina, who is a very successful UK-based blogger and influencer, an OG influencer. Anyway, so she posted a reel talking about the kind of treatment she gets done for preparing herself for hot girl summer or something like that. Anyway, so she was I'm going, of course, going to the hairdressers, I'm fine with that. But getting her nails done, scalp treatments, facials, pedicures, manicures. I mean, good for her, she can definitely afford it. She also probably sees it as kind of investment in herself for the purposes of her social media presence, because she's a huge influencer. But yeah, I would feel super guilty spending that kind of money on beauty treatments. Would I look better if I got baby Botox, pedicures and manicures on a bi-weekly basis, facials, M-scalp treatments, lymphatic drainage, like massages? Probably. But do I want to spend like 1K, 1.5K a month on those like recurring treatments? Definitely not. So that's also a frugal habit, and I think that's also something that Paula mentioned in her video, that this is an aspect that she too doesn't spend a lot of money on. But yeah, those are my 5 frugal habits. To be honest, I could easily do like a second part, maybe also a third part of this, but I decided for the purposes of this tag, I'm gonna keep it to 5. Let me know if you can relate or can't relate to the 5 habits that I mentioned. Also, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, this wasn't like a how I afford luxury kind of thing. It definitely helps that I don't see added value in spending money on certain aspects, because that leaves more money left over for like saving and all that. But if you want me to film a how I afford luxury video, which yeah focuses on like other aspects, definitely let me know and I'll be happy to film that. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing and ring that little bell so you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. And of course, this is a tag video, so I'm going to tag a couple of fellow creators in the description box below. But even if I don't tag you, feel free to consider yourselves tagged. And if you don't have a YouTube channel, but you're okay with sharing your frugal habits, I would love to hear about it in the comment section below. But yeah, before I keep you any longer, thank you so much for spending some of your precious time with me, and I'm gonna see you in my next video. Bye.